Greetings to all our viewers across Africa and across the world. This is Thuso Khumalo coming to you live from Johannesburg. I'm bringing you breaking news that is coming out of South Africa. President Cyril Ramaphosa has just announced and addressed the nation saying he is not resigning after a damning court judgment, constitutional court judgment that ordered an impeachment committee to be set up in order to prepare to impeach him after, of course, a happening that happened in 2022 where, of course, in his farm there was money stolen, and after that money stolen, because that was not reported and because a report that happened after that found that he might have violated the Constitution. So an impeachment committee was ordered to be set up, but President Cyril Ramaphosa addressing the nation tonight saying he is not resigning. In his words, he says, I'm not resigning, I'm not going with anywhere, I'm here, I will serve the mandate that the people have given to me. So that is the breaking news that's coming out of South Africa. A lot of people expecting that President Cyril Ramaphosa would resign, and of course there were a lot of calls for President Cyril Ramaphosa to resign, but the breaking news that's coming out of South Africa, he says he is not resigning. According to President Cyril Ramaphosa, he says this report, what he's going to do now, he's taking this report for review. In the court judgment that happened this week by the Constitutional Court, or on Friday by the Constitutional Court, it said the recommendations of the panel, the independent panel report, which found that Ramaphosa might have violated the Constitution, it should be implemented unless if it is taken for review. So Ramaphosa says his next step now, he has ordered his legal team to take the report for review. So that report now is now standing up and is up for review, meaning that the process of reviewing the report, he is challenging the report, he is saying the report is misdirected, the report has errors, the report, he doesn't accept that report. So he has taken it for judicial review. This means that the processes that the parliament was supposed to be taking after that court judgment, they now have to stop waiting for that report to go for review. So a court has to set the report aside. If the report is set aside, then Ramaphosa is victorious. But if a court of law says the facts of that report are true, it should be implemented, then that report will come back again. So now we are at a point where that report is being taken for a review by President Cyril Ramaphosa, meaning all the other impeachment processes are likely not to go. Earlier in the day, the Speaker of Parliament, Togo Didiza, had announced 7 steps of trying to implement the court judgment. And in those steps, she said she would set up the impeachment committee and set up the terms and limits and set up everything as far as that is concerned. Also tell Parliament to rectify the laws that the court said they are invalid, so that the process of impeaching President Cyril Ramaphosa is going to take place. So immediately this evening, Ramaphosa then addresses the nation and says he is taking that report for review. So that report, as of now, it is going to be now taken for review, meaning a court process is going to take place. How long that court process is going to take, no one knows. But it is only after that report or that review process has happened that now Parliament can proceed with its steps. So it's not known what the EFF now that took that report to court, what it is going to do. But that clause of Ramaphosa taking the report for a review, it was there in the judgment. The judgment said the report of the special panel should be implemented in terms of setting up the impeachment committees unless that report has been set aside by a review process. And now Ramaphosa, breaking news coming out of Johannesburg, Ramaphosa tonight saying he is not resigning. He's going to go through this process. He says he does that in respect of the ruling because the judgment allows him to do that. And he's saying he's also exercising his own right as a citizen, of course, because the Constitution allows for that report. In fact, he says when the report first came out, this report that found him to have violated the Constitution, when it came out initially, he had taken steps to review it. And while he was in the process of getting it reviewed, then Parliament voted against it and it fell aside. Then he withdrew that. But he says he remained and reserved his right to send it for review in future should a need arise. And he says now a need has arisen because the Constitutional Court has said that report is now active and is now legal and it should be implemented. Now he's taking a move, taking it for review. This is in the midst of all the calls that have been happening throughout since Friday. A lot of people saying the president must resign because he's facing impeachment. The president must resign because he could have violated. But President Cyril Ramaphosa tonight saying that is wrong because the Constitutional Court did not look into the merits of the report, but it only said Parliament's actions of voting against that panel report without sending it through to an impeachment committee was wrong. So Ramaphosa saying he has not been found guilty. There's nothing that the Constitutional Court said he has done wrong, but it said the processes followed by Parliament were wrong, hence they have to be restarted again. And of course, the Speaker of Parliament had already spelled out 7 steps in order in terms of implementing that. But now the breaking news is that President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's not resigning, he's not going anywhere. He promises the nation that he's going to hold on until the end of his term, implement everything that has been given. Of course, saying he's hard at work, he's fighting crime. There are commissions, including the Madlanga Commission, that is also helping to fight crime. And a lot of people are getting arrested. He's saying he's not going to be detracted in terms of doing that. He's going to stay put until the end of the term. So now, as it stands, what is going to happen is that the report will be reviewed. Of course, a court of law has to be engaged and the lawyers have to discuss and debate in terms of whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, it's either a court of law has to set it aside or has to order that it be implemented. At that stage, this is when Parliament is going to take it over and process it. So this is the breaking news coming out of South Africa this evening. President Cyril Ramaphosa, out of all the calls that were happening, he has said tonight, he is not resigning. In his words, he says, I'm not resigning, I'm not going anywhere, I am around. This is Thuso Khumalo coming to you live from Johannesburg with this breaking news. It's a bye for now.